Hi, I'm JJ Barnes and this is Jonathan McKinney.
Hello.
And you are watching JJ and Jonathan's Writing Advice. Sort of, right? Close enough. So today we're going to be talking to you about themes. So when you're writing, you might want to include a particular theme that's present from the beginning and flows through your story, but isn't the actual plot of your story.
Right, so it's adjacent to the plot.
And it colours things, it shapes things in your story. It's present throughout the story, but it's not sort of what you're focusing on.
Right. So I would argue that the use of themes in storytelling is at a point at which you become professional, at the point at which you become an elite writer, you are always writing with themes. The theme is connected to the arc that your main character, your protagonist, goes through. So they start out possibly believing something about the world or about themselves that is false. They get to the other side of that and come out with a better understanding of the world or themselves, and that process is where the theme is found.
Yeah, and your themes can be things such as you might have a theme about racism. Mm-hmm. You're not writing about a racist incident, but it's the way people react to certain characters and how they behave is coloured, and it's a commentary on racism.
Yeah.
You might have the same about, you might have a theme of hope, where your characters, the way they react to things, the way they respond to things, is a commentary on hope and the importance. Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption is very much themed about.
And you wouldn't say, oh, I'm going to write about hope or racism by doing a specific dramatic incident directly saying that, but the way you write it, the way you talk about things within it, is with that lens on it.
Yeah, I agree. As I say, I think the best storytellers are using themes all the time. For me, when I started, my first novel, Emily the Master Enchantress, was the theme was sort of flimsy, if I'm being completely honest, in that it was to do with the main character Emily's sort of approach to new and previously.
Yeah, it was more about the plot and the characters.
It was very much more about the plot.
That's good. You want a plot-heavy story. You want lots of plot.
But the sequel, the Fundamental Miri-Menene, is 100% about the theme. And the theme being what level of, what amount of punishment is due to very, very wicked individuals. And that's something that stories sort of grapple with a lot.
Yeah, and it makes, but if you can get your theme in and have a strong theme like Miri, the Fundamental Miri-Menene, the book John was talking about, because the theme is such strong and clear, it infuses every single conversation, every scene. It is a present, and it's something that it impacts the story without being specifically, he doesn't like take it and pick it apart and look at it as like a textbook might.
No.
Like it's not a textbook. You're not writing non-fiction. You're writing a philosophy book where you discuss an idea. Your characters discuss it, behave with it. It moves through the story by the way they talk to each other and the way they interact, and it's incredible, like what you did, and it is, and yeah, it's present in every single scene.
Yeah,
without a spotlight being shone on it to say this is what I'm talking about. Look at it. It's more subtle. The theme is sort of part of how you experience the story, rather than being spotlit.
So yeah, in the case of a theme like that, so sort of justice, what is justice? Is it death penalty? Is it imprisonment? Is it, anywhere in between? That you can then personify different philosophical worldviews or perspectives.
Yeah.
So you have Guan Yin Che, the woman who taught Miri how to fight. She is ruthless. She murders evildoers more than happily. That's all she's about.
Yep.
And the Shieldmaids, the team of superheroes or whatever, they don't. They just kind of stop them and focus on helping the victim. So
but then within that group, you have the different opinions
Yeah.
brought to life.
So, yeah, and what you're able to do, what I was able to do by using this theme for the second novel, is infuse the story with philosophical conflict, which you touched on just now. And that, again, yeah, it does motivate your writing. You find it a lot easier to write because you know what they're all concerned with. And yeah, so that's the theory of using a theme in a very
I think
way.
It enriches the story on such a true, deep way, because it does make it more interesting, because you're not just telling a story. You're not just moving your characters from A to B and then landing at C. You're not, which is fine. You can tell a perfectly good story that does that. But when you put a theme into it, or multiple themes, you can have more than one theme present throughout your story. It means that you're moving from A to B and landing at C, but in such a raised up way that makes it deeper, and it makes you come away from it thinking.
Yeah.
And I think if you come away from it thinking, well, what would be the right thing to do? What would I do? Would I ever be pushed to behave in the way, the extreme of either end? Would I be somewhere in the middle? What circumstances would make me do either? If you come away from a story analysing yourself, that story is then incredibly written. Because if you start questioning yourself based on a story, you know what I mean? It's had an impact on you as the audience. You are connected to it in a completely deeper and more powerful way, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, reading philosophy textbooks is probably quite useful when you're talking about finding themes. But certainly you don't want to have long conversations where, like, you got Socrates and his mates chatting for ages and ages and ages about the ideal society.
Yeah, you still want the theme to be, as I say, not spotlit. You want your story to move. You want to get ABC. Yeah. You want to get, like, bang through it. You want the adventure, the excitement, the conflict.
Yeah, the peril
exactly. You want that. You don't want the theme to be, as I say, zoomed in on in a way that does feel like a textbook, because it's not interesting. Oh, hello, snoring.
Yeah, I mean, you might. That might be your thing, in which case, go for it.
Oh yeah, if you want to write a textbook, write a textbook. Yeah. that's fine. But if you want to do a story, a plot-driven, character-driven story, but have a theme present, it's just about, as you say, giving each character, say, a particular philosophical approach. So my example, which I would say works for this, so in Lily Prospero and the Mermaid's Curse, you've got a coven of witches, you've got Lily and Saffron and all the characters, and mermaids are being harvested for their body parts, which is, it's gruesome, I'm sorry, it's grim, but they are being pulled from the ocean and chopped up, basically, for magical potions. So you have my extreme in the same way of Granny and Che is the harvester. He is full on, you do it. People need these parts, I will kill them. Then you have, say, Saffron, who is absolutely never, under any circumstances, is this okay? And then you have people all through the middle who are like, well, if somebody's dying and a bit of mermaid would save their life, is that okay? What if it's something that they wouldn't die from being taken, like they can lose a bit of scales and they'll survive and it can help people? So you have these different, and you see the impact of it. So you've got one witch who is dying, and if she doesn't get her hands on this particular bit of mermaid, she will die. So then it's like, whose life is worth more, the mermaid who's going to die or the woman who's going to die? And that is present throughout the story, and it's debated and discussed without being, as I say, it's not spotlit in a, this is the conversation we're having. Yeah. It is just throughout. At what point do you say you are willing to go into this really dark territory of mermaid killing? Or do you just say never ever and let people die or suffer? Or do you say, I will always do it because that's what needs to be done? And it's present throughout, and it makes the story, for me, as again, my second book as well, so it's richer, it's deeper, it's more powerful for that conversation being throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, these have been quite dark themes, but the themes could be much more. Pixar movies tend to have the theme of growing up and nostalgia, which is good for the parents, because usually if you're a parent watching those movies, it's because you've got small kids and you're watching your kids grow up. And I think that was a deliberate choice from the people who were.
Yeah, because it appeals to the children because they want to grow up,
Yeah.
and it appeals to the parents because we are watching our children grow up and feeling the whole "the days are long but the years are short" thing, and it kind of brings you both together with that theme pulling you in from both ends.
So yeah, for you, as you're approaching your next work, your next book, you might be going through something that you can create personifications in terms of like characters who have perspectives that you've either previously had or still have, and you might have learned something about the world or about you, that you want to charge your characters with the same kind of lesson. That's your theme.
Yeah.
That covers it, you say?
I think so, yeah. If you've got any ideas of examples of stories with great themes, or you are writing a story with a theme and you want to tell us about it, we'd love to hear. Comment below with any themes you are using or any things that you have loved in story as well. If you could subscribe and like our channel, like this video, subscribe to our channel, we can keep bringing you writing advice. We want to talk to you about everything you're doing. So put your notification on, you'll get alerts when we do another video. We're trying to bring you one every single day. And thank you very much for watching. We hope you'll talk to us. Tell us about your work in progress, everything you're doing like that. We'd love to talk to you. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.